What's up, guys? So, welcome back to this week's Saucy Gaming News, and we've got quite a bit. Nothing particularly drama related, but a lot of fun little stories. So, as always, you see me looking down, just purely reading notes. So, to start off with, I'm just going to run through kind of a couple of upcoming game releases from maybe end of this month to sort of September. Starting off is Crisis Remastered, which, if you know, Crisis was kind of synonymous when it first came out for just tanking PCs. You needed such high levels of kind of fidelity on your system to be able to run it. And I'll be honest, they've said that it's going to be an 8K. Let me just read this out. So 8K with blah blah ray tracing stuff I don't understand on PC. It's releasing September the 18th, and it's coming in at £30. Now, I will link the trailer below. If anything you watch in this video, I suggest you go watch the trailer. It is phenomenal. Like 8K. I mean, I'm still using like a 1080p monitor. 8K. That's fucking crazy, man. I suggest you go check it out. And if you enjoyed Crisis games, obviously there was a big series of it, but I enjoyed the first Crisis game enough where I'm going to buy the remaster just to see how pretty it is, even on, console. So, moving on from there was Microsoft's Flight Simulator. Now, if anyone doesn't know, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a flight simulator. You fly over various places. It's very pretty, and as far as I'm aware, it has to be not only the biggest game I think ever, just in terms of scale of realism, but also for sheer beautifulness. If that's not even a fucking word, but you look at some gameplay of this on a good PC, and wow, that's all I can say is wow. They've rendered each city, each area individually. I think it was done with Google Maps as well, and honestly, that's another game that's worth, even if you don't want to play it. I'm not interested in a simulation flying game, but I have happily sat there for half an hour and just watched someone else fly around a bit. It's absolutely breathtaking, and that's got pretty good reviews. And by pretty good, I mean excellent reviews. It's on like a 97 or something on Metacritic. People seem to love it. I can see why. If that's your sort of thing, absolutely pick it up. And I believe it's on Game Pass as well for PC, so you got no reason not to play it. I think it's a pretty big download though, so just bear that in mind. Battletoads is next. So Battletoads was released, which was kind of a full ground up remake. I mean, how many times have we heard that this year? But a ground up remake of the original, where they've adjusted certain things. Battletoads, I don't have an Xbox or a PC, so I can't play it. But from what I've seen, I love the style of it. In the original, I absolutely loved, apart from that horrid bike level. I think we all know what we're talking about there. They've changed a lot, but it still is getting kind of mixed to good reviews. In terms of a percentage, you're looking at about 65% out of 100. It's fairly mixed, and I don't know, it's difficult because I love the original and this new one looks good, but people seem to have an issue with how they've gone graphically. People get annoyed that it kind of doesn't look the same, and I think, well, what do you expect? If you want to play the original, you can go out and play the original. Right now, on any cheap laptop, you can just Google it and it's there. You can play the original completely. But no, I like the look of it. I'm more than likely to pick it up at some point when I've got a bit more money. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out already and that's your sort of thing, I would highly suggest checking it out. Me personally, it's right up my alley. Going on from there, kind of the last game I'm going to talk about, and my most anticipated indie game, I think, of the past 5 years. And anyone that knows me, I love indie games. I love small companies coming out with games that you look at and you think, Jesus, this looks good. Apart from No Man's Sky, we all got deceived with that one, but it's Mortal Shell, and this is basically, and I know it's a cliche, it's Dark Souls Dark Souls-esque. It looks phenomenal. I mean, people have gave it really good reviews so far. There's been some slight issues, but it's just coming from a indie developer that kind of came out of nowhere and has gone, here you go, here's a Dark Souls, but with a little bit more branching pathways, maybe a little bit more accessible as well. I've heard, because it's kind of a class-based thing, so there's 4 classes. One of them I've heard is a lot easier to use than others, so more accessible for people like me, who, you know, there's times where I don't want to go into a full-blown difficult game when I've only got a couple of hours to play here and there. But at the same time, you can still make it challenging for yourself. So that's great. Honestly, that's great, and it's come out with pretty good reviews. I suggest if you're looking for another Dark Souls experience or a Bloodborne experience, pick it up. It's, I believe, like 30 quid, so you can't really go wrong. It's almost like a new one in the series. You know, we've had Sekiro, we've had Nioh. Now I've got Mortal Shell, and you know, another company trying this type of style. So on from there is that's pretty much all the new releases, apart from one I'm going to mention later, but that deserves its own spot. Is Avengers, Tony Hawk's, and Spelunky all coming out in September, which is great. I thought I'd mention these 3 games really quick because Avengers looks iffy, graphically looks it looks kind of shit. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but people say, oh, it's only a beta, and I think, yeah, it's a beta that's 1 month away from the full release. They're not going to change anything graphically. If they put betas out, you know, Call of Duty does it, they put betas out to get impressions on how the weapons play or which certain sections of the game could be tweaked and to get any bugs, but no, they're not going to change it graphically. You're not going to suddenly play it and have 28k visuals and, you know, the world, you know, it's going to look so real you're actually in the game. It's not going to happen. Tony Hawk's Remaster though, 1 and 2, looks fantastic. It's such a childhood game for me, so I will pick it up. I'll probably wait for it to go on sale. I'm not like pumping to get out there day one. And then Spelunky 2 as well, big game there. A lot of good things coming. There are more games coming in September, don't get me wrong, but they're the ones that sort of caught my eye that I personally enjoy. Moving on from there is Apex Season 6 came out. Now, they changed a lot. If you play Apex, you'll know that one of the big issues with the game was towards the end, and it's a battle royale game for anyone that doesn't know, towards the end, everyone seemed to have super, what we call Evo shields, and you could get them really high level, and then if you had certain characters, you can have incredibly high shields, more health than other people. It was a bit, I don't know, I want to say stale in a way. People complaining because it did take a long time to kill people, but now they've almost completely reverted that and they've gone, right, now let's make it super quick. They've buffed certain guns that just shred you in literal a second. There's certain guns in the game now that I was watching videos on that can literally down you with like full health and full armor if every shot hits in like 1.5 seconds. Yeah, that's not even enough time to react. That's mental. But yeah, it's come out with mixed reviews. A lot of people are saying, look, we want this change. We want things to change here. They have put out little nerfs, but almost like laughable nerfs. There was like one gun got its damage per bullet taken down from 15 to 14, and that's literally done nothing. As in, like, time to kill has not changed with that amount of bullet. I don't know, it's just weird things, but look, there's more to work on. There's always things to change. So going on from there is Tim the Tapman. I'm sure everyone's heard he finally won a Fall Guys game. It's just a fun little story. He's been streaming this game for a long time since it came out, a lot of hours. He finally won one the other day, and you've got a feel for the man. You know, he's not very good, but we support him anyway. You know, we support him. On from there, Xbox, and this is something you guys need to sit down for. Xbox is finally getting themes. You know, themes like the PlayStation's had for years, and you know, that look good. Yeah, well, Xbox is finally getting that. I don't know if it will come into current gen or if it's just purely next gen. But yeah, you can have animated background stuff now instead of just changing your colour. So, yay. It's something that should have been done ages ago. I feel like customization like that is kind of obvious. You know, it's like if I buy a phone, I want to be able to change my wallpaper. It's just fairly obvious. So there's that. people be excited about that. People are excited, actually. I saw on Twitter people going mad about this. Wow, we're getting themes. And I think, yeah, we've had them for 7 years. So, you know. Um, on from there, and I'm trying to get this news out quick because there's a couple of things that I want to kind of talk about a bit more. But the hashtag Free Fortnite Cup. Now, if you watched last week's, which, you know, a few of you did, you'll know that I despise what Epic Games is doing at the minute. And all the companies, to be fair, but mainly Epic. You know, Google and Apple, they're not perfect in here. They're doing it for money as well. But Epic Games, they're just going in the wrong direction and making themselves look like twats doing it. But the hashtag Free Fortnite Cup is a cup within Fortnite, and they've legitimately called it the hashtag Free Fortnite Cup, which is a thing they try to get trending on Twitter, which obviously all the 10-year-old fanboys and girls was like, well, we've got to hop on our Twitter now and support it without knowing any of the information, which I found laughable. But, yeah, I mean, on my comments here were hashtag Free Fortnite Cup seems petty. And, yeah, exactly, it is bloody petty. And I believe it was something along the lines of, if you won, you got something called the Bad Apple Trophy or something like that, which is, there's one thing to get Epic Games in one hand, okay, and they're going, look, we're going to shit all over Apple, okay, and they're really going in with a stupid advertisement, taking a piss out of one of Apple's and all this. But it's another thing to go, look, we're Epic Games, and yeah, we're big, but what we're going to do is shit on arguably the second biggest company that's known about. Obviously there's companies out there people don't know about that don't really care, oil companies stuff, but second biggest company in the world, we're going to take a shit right on there, and then after we've taken that shit, we're then going to push that shit in to their fucking carpet, and they're going to have to spend a shit ton on shit remover, and that's all they're doing. You fucking idiots, man. Absolute idiots. You look like an idiot. To do this in-game is stupid. If you're going to have a game and you're going to have issues outside of the game, keep it outside the game. You don't need to bring it into the game and get your fanboys and girls, because that is what they're doing. They're trying to make the young kids, which is what they are, the impressionable kids, go and send hate towards Apple, Google, put it on their Twitter to rally people up. Like, you know, just stop. Honestly, it's embarrassing what you're doing. Keep it. If it's going legal, if it's going into a lawsuit and various things and suing and whatnot, keep it that way. Keep it out of the game. People in game don't care. You can enjoy the game and not know about any of the drama. Simple as that. So keep it out of your game. And again, no one's going to see us from there, but I think it's important to spread awareness when we can, because I don't see enough people talking about it. It's so embarrassing what they're doing. All the companies, like I say, are to blame partly, but Epic Games just needs to step down from it. If they're going to take it the legal route, do that. But if not, you know, just keep it out your game. No one cares. And no one needs to be impressioning young children, because that is the demographic of the game, is like, you know, 10-year-olds play this because it's a really colourful, fun little game. I don't know what to say. What we've got next on the notes that I can argue about. Yeah, so Untitled Goose Game, which is, I recently completed it, really fun little indie game, which is kind of took the world by storm a little bit. Well, that's getting like a co-op multiplayer, which could be really fun. It's one of them games that you play through like 5 or 6 times because of how short it is and how fun it is. You like to try to do things in different ways. But yeah, a co-op multiplayer, I'm hopefully going to get my partner to come play it with me when that happens, so yeah, that looks fun. And I know in this video it sounds like there's a lot of just game releases coming out, this is coming out. That's because there is. That's what this week has basically been. It's just, here's new games. There you go, new games and new information, new modes. But Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access is coming to PC. Baldur's Gate series that people have been screaming for what seems like decades now. But yeah, finally an early access is coming. I will leave a link below to the full article. I'm not a Baldur's Gate fan personally, but I know people are diehard for it. Alright, the last thing that I want to talk about before I talk about the last thing, if that makes no sense, is Wukong, Was it? No, Black Myth Wukong. This is a game that literally got an advert out of nowhere. It wasn't even an advert. They showed 13 minutes of gameplay, okay, of this game and an IP no one's ever heard of, and holy hell, you need to check this one out as well. I know I said you need to check Crisis out, but this looks next gen. Jake Baldino on Game Ranks actually said that this was for him looking like, I believe, something along the lines of the first step towards next gen. It really does. It basically starts off, you're this monkey person, and it's almost like a Dark Souls again. Oh, it's got, comparing it to Dark Souls, but it has that feel, and the scenery is beautiful. It's like this martial arts mix of Jedi Fallen Order, Dark Souls, and like the Sekiro surrounding and stuff. It looks amazing. I suggest checking it out because just graphically alone, it's another gorgeous, gorgeous game. I haven't got any exact details yet, but the fact that they showed 13 minutes of actual gameplay, not a CG trailer, was really impressive to see what this game could look like. Hopefully, it's as good as it thinks it is, if that makes sense. The game is kind of coming out punching, saying, look, we know we're good. Let's hope it stands up to that, 'cause again, No Man's Sky, when it came out, tricked us all with gameplay and a million trillion new worlds. But yeah, that looks good. And the last thing we're going to talk about is something that came yesterday, kind of got snuck up in there, and that is two new game releases that I'm going to kind of pair as one. So it's the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. First of all, a trailer comes out, no gameplay, purely CG trailer, and again, I'll link it. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Like, I love the Arkham games. Okay, I love Batman. The games he's in are all fantastic. It's a gritty, hard-hitting kind of game. It's just ridiculously fun to play. Suicide Squad comes out, and the trailer had very mixed reviews. It had like, I don't know, 3,000 likes, 1,000 dislikes, something around there. Probably a little bit less dislikes, but they've gone with a very colourful theme, which I understand. Suicide Squad, it can be gritty, but it's also over the top. And you've got Sharkhead there, you've got Deadshot, you've got Harley Quinn, who I despise the look of her in this game. I genuinely hope would change it. Like, not even a look, because her look's fine, I guess. I would prefer maybe a comic book style Harley Quinn, but she made me physically cringe when she started. Like, the first 15 seconds is her being weird and goofy, because that's who Harley Quinn is, but the whole thing just made me cringe genuinely inside. I really didn't like it. And then towards the end, not really spoilers, it's a 3-minute trailer, go watch it for yourself, you loser. But towards the end, Superman comes in, but he's, bad Superman, and they're there to kill him. Obviously, they're going to make this work somehow, but all I could help but think is, none of these people actually have superpowers, apart from, like, Sharkhead, because he's got a fucking shark for a head, and that's cool. But, like, Superman's just going to fucking literally rip you all apart. I don't know. They'll make it work somehow, but yeah, I hope they change Harley Quinn. Just the voicing of her and the cringiness really hit me, and that's coming out 2022. So even though we've been waiting for years for a new game from the developers, we're going to have to wait a bit longer. But the better of the two that I say are linked is, I think it's called Batman Knights. I haven't got it on my screen, but it's basically the next part from what I can tell in the Arkham series, and this looks so much better. Like, it starts off, Batman reckons he's died, but I would bet a fair bit of money that Batman is definitely not dead in here. Like, he's not. They're not going to kill off Batman and replace him with Robin and a few sidekicks. Not a chance, but in this trailer it looks like you can now play as Batgirl, Robin, Red Hood, and can't remember the last guy, but yeah, check it out. It looks a lot better though. It looks gritty, it looks like an Arkham game, and that is what I'm excited for. It doesn't look like they've tried to go a silly direction that makes everyone cringe. It looks like the designs of the characters are really, really cool, and yeah, it'd be fun to see Batman actually in there, because he's definitely in there. And that's it for this week, guys. That is as for news, I know it was a bit of a weird news. There was just a lot of his new releases, blah blah blah. But if you enjoyed, every Sunday I do a gaming news podcast thing section. Yeah, I would highly suggest checking it out. So if you enjoyed, subscribe or not. If you didn't enjoy, drop it a dislike. I don't mind. I would like to know your opinions on everything. So yeah, check the description for any of this news and stay safe.